What's going on? So in this brief video, I'm going to go over a case study of a new client. His name's Grayson. He onboarded last month, and I'm going to go over how he trained his new appointment setter to generate 10 high-ticket deals in just his first 3 weeks on the job. Now, why is this important? Well, the industry average is that setters hit their KPI 30 days after they're onboarded. That's the average. We take that and we bring it all the way down to less than 7 days. The reason we're able to do that is with the process I'm about to show you. So this is what this video is all about. It's how to, first of all, find the right setter, find a quality appointment setter, and secondly, how to train them and ramp them up in record time so that they deliver results as quickly as possible and that they continue to do that. So I'm going to go over everything we're doing to make that possible. Now, there are a bunch of core principles that we can go over, but I want to focus on the more important thing, which is the fundamental mindsets that we teach these setters as soon as they're onboarded. So what basically happens as soon as we onboard a setter, which I'm going to show you how to find the right setter in a second, but what we do is we focus on installing these core fundamental mindsets into the setter during the first 7 days of them working. That first 7 days is the most crucial part of the entire engagement, in my opinion, because that's where all expectations are set. That's where they learn all of the fundamental mindsets. And if you do this right, you won't even really have to do much training after that. So it's just these 7 days, you're hopping on calls with them every single day. What you're doing is you're shadowing them. So as they're working and sending DMs or making phone calls, if they're a phone setter, you are shadowing them live and you're giving them feedback live. The reason for that is because you can give them feedback and they can implement it immediately, as opposed to like doing it over text or doing it across multiple days. It takes longer. The reason we're able to ramp setters up so quick is because we speed up the process of that feedback implementation loop. So it's just, I'm on a call with you, you're setting in front of me, you're working, and then I see something, I give you feedback on it, you implement it in the next conversation. And then we just repeat that over and over and over again until you pretty much install all of the core fundamental mindsets, all the core sales principles to the point where I'm not even needed on that call anymore. And that's what happens in that first week. So here's kind of what we teach, just to give you a background. So number one is authority frame, right? So this works with any high ticket business. It's important to maintain an authority frame to show that like we're not desperate for business. You guys need us, we don't need you, because ultimately we have a solution that's going to help you. So I'm not desperate for your business. I'm good whether you sign up or not. It also gives us the freedom to choose who we work with. So this frame ends up actually getting you more clients as opposed to less. Secondly is the buyer block mentality. So this is like persistence, right? I call it buyer block because it's just, people always laugh when I tell it to them, but basically you're going to follow up with leads until they either buy from you or block you. That might be a little bit extreme, but the point is persistence, right? So follow up 5 to 10 times, follow up across a 6-month, 12-month timeline. Some deals don't close until 6 months or a year later. And one of my clients, Ridge, who runs a consulting firm, we closed for him about $40,000 a month in revenue just off old follow-up, old leads, because his setter is working that pipeline every single week and keeping all of those old prospects at top of mind, right? Or we're keeping his business at top of mind for those prospects, right? So they're always coming back to buy, even if it's 6 months, 12 months later, which is leading us to have a massive pipeline of people that is adding on average 40,000 in revenue just off that, not even the new business. So that's why we teach this framework, because this is where all the money is, to be honest, or where a lot of the money is. So that's that. And then the low pressure sales framework, right? So, it's 2025. I'm sure if you're watching this, you understand that high pressure sales tactics don't work anymore. So we teach low pressure sales, which is to assume that we don't know if we can help anybody until we get on a call with them and actually learn more about their situation. So this is like a core mindset when it comes to messaging in general that setters need to have. They need to understand that like we don't have an intention to pitch anything until we're 100% sure we can help people. So that also helps us overcome pricing objections in the DMs and plenty other objections. This is a fundamental principle that can be applied to handle any objection we receive in the DMs. So with that said, that's like the core things that we focus on when training these setters in the first 7 days. Mind you, there's a lot more, but I want to keep this pretty high level. So, and I do have a video going more in depth on all this too on my YouTube. So we've got how to revive more conversations. So how to hire successful setters, because, okay, I'm going to go over this because you can't even get to the point of teaching core principles and ramping them up in 7 days if you don't even have the right setter. You need a setter who is culturally, logistically, and skill-wise a great fit. And so this is what we look for, right? What makes a setter a good fit? Logistics. They don't have any other significant commitments. They're not working on any other offers. They're not in school full-time. They have full-time availability to work 6 days a week minimum, and ideally based in North America. Now, skills and traits. They need to be coachable. Okay, I would take somebody who's coachable and competent over somebody who's experienced every single day of the week. So, coachability, social awareness, and emotional intelligence. So a lot of people don't really talk about this, but EQ is actually something that, you know, if you really want to take or you really want to go that far, you can test your setters for their EQ to see how emotionally intelligent they are. Because actually, the more emotionally intelligent you are, the better you are at sales, the better you are at setting. So this is a big indicator of if you will be successful as a setter. Punctual and highly communicative. A setter who is not communicative is almost always a bad thing. It's almost always a lack of commitment. They must have a realistic long-term vision and goal. So the reason this is here is because a lot of appointment setters will have crazy, outlandish goals that don't even make sense. For example, I've had people tell me that they want to make 30, 40K a month as an appointment setter. And that's incredibly unrealistic. They might be saying that to seem ambitious, but what it tells me is that you aren't satisfied unless you're making a lot of money. And so if we are able to get you on an offer and you're making, let's say, 3K a month, you're not going to be happy and you're going to churn. So that's why we stay away. This is a killer of long-term retention if they don't have a realistic goal. And I look for at least 2 months minimum of setting experience, because at the end of the day, you need to understand some of the foundations of appointment setting. I can teach the rest, but the point is you have to have a little bit of a foundation, which is why we also only hire setters who have invested into their sales training so that they come in with a foundation already, and then we can build off that. So that's what we look for. Now, at the end of the day, this video is about how we took this setter to booking calls and closing or generating 10 closed deals within his first 3 weeks. And this is really what it entails, right? So that's the first 7 days. That's getting them ramped up, hitting KPI within their first 7 days. After that, it's how do we lead them to help them continue to perform and perform better every single week. So what you need is clear SOPs. Right? So clear SOPs, how to use the CRM, how to send end-of-day reports, how to track your numbers, how to send them, how to communicate in the Slack channel, everything. Everything's super clear. You have policies that they must follow and then hold them accountable to those policies. Next is you need clear KPIs. So how many outbound should they be sending? Call offers, booked calls, follow-ups, etc. Communication, so I kind of just covered this, but where are you communicating? Is it Slack? When are you communicating? 9 to 5 on Slack? How are you communicating, right? So all of these things, lay them out very clearly so that there's never any resent when things are, misaligned. KPI tracking, must send daily end-of-day reports. That's non-negotiable. And then clear OTE. So clear, if you're not familiar with OTE, it's on target earnings, which means what the setter can expect to make if they hit their KPI. So you must have a clear and realistic OTE. They should be fully aware of what they can make if they hit or exceed their KPI. So kind of working backwards here, now that we've established what we do in that first 7 days to ramp them up to KPI really quickly, and we've also established what's needed what's needed in your setter for them to actually be successful, let's find out how you should actually find these setters in the first place. How do you actually source them? So the way that you want to do this is you want to source anywhere from 50 to 100 applicants. This is what we do. We source 50 to 100. We disqualify about half, all the way up to 75%, just with a form. And then from that form, we figure out, okay, that 25% or so that's qualified based off the form, let's pick 10 to 20 top picks and get them into the group interview. Then we take a group interview, take only one or two people from that group interview to take a one-to-one interview. And honestly, that group interview shouldn't take longer than 30, 45 minutes. Then you can just take a couple of one-to-ones. So this shouldn't take too much of your time, at least on the interviews. The sourcing could take a lot of time, which is ultimately why people pay us to do it. Then you onboard the most qualified and best cultural fit. So sources of talent, you can get talent from running ads. You can also get it from high ticket sales training programs. You can also get it from your network. If you have an established network, you can get it from job sites, which I don't necessarily recommend, but there's plenty of sources of talent. The point is you want to treat this as a funnel. So let's just get as much volume as possible into the top of the vetting funnel and then work your way down. So you get 100 form applicants, you get 25 actual candidates out of that, 20 showed interviews. What I mean by this is like 20 people showing up to the group interview. And then ultimately you're going to choose your one proven ideal candidate by taking a few one-to-one interviews and then onboard them. So that is pretty much how we go about, at a high level, how we go about finding the setter, recruiting them, training them up in the first 7 days, and getting them to perform really well in that first month. So yeah, Grayson's setter will continue to be performing very well. Actually, he just got 2 more closes just today. And yeah, maybe I should include that screenshot as well. But yeah, stuff's blurred out here for client confidentiality reasons. So that's why I'm not showing the setter's name. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. And if you have any questions, let me know.